Lately, Clair Obscure Expedition 33 has been all the rage in the RPG community, with some people even going as far as saying that it saved the turn-based genre, which some may see as kind of an exaggeration since in the past few years we have seen a whole lot of other amazing turn-based games being released. That said, I haven't played it yet since unfortunately I cannot afford it, but the game does seem amazing. I've seen lots of praise to its story, atmosphere and combat system, but since I haven't played it, I refrain from seeing anything about its plots to avoid spoilers, so please do not spoil me in the comments. But I checked out its battle system and decided to list a few other games that use interactive turn-based system with timing, combos and or pairing for those of you who loved Expedition 33 and wish to play more RPGs with similar combats. So let's get right to it. The first one is The Legends of Dragoon, released originally for PlayStation in 1999, with later ports for modern PlayStation platforms. An absolute classic, among the favorites of that generation and with thousands of requests for a remake every year. From a time when many JRPGs were trying different things, this one stood out for its beautiful FMVs, fun and interactive combat system, great lore and terrible localization. But going for what matters here in this video, the combat system has you pressing buttons for every action you perform, with different combos called additions in this game, for every characters and even for magic items used. That, added to a system where your characters can transform and get awesome armors and new spells, makes for a really fun turn-based game. The downside here, apart from the translation that can sound really funny sometimes, is that, being such an old 3D game, it is very slow and everything takes way too long if you're not playing it on an emulator, so you can speed up enemies' turns. Just so you can understand what I'm talking about, there are bosses in this game that will spam magic spells, and the animations are so long that each turn can take up to 3, sometimes 5 whole minutes before you can act again. I've played it on my PS4 last year, and while I loved this game, I really wished there was a way to skip the battle animations after the first time I saw them. Fortunately, at least you can skip the transformations. It's something. Super Mario RPG, released originally for SNES in 1996, but with a full remake for Nintendo Switch in 2023. While I chose this game to talk about, basically every Mario RPG, including Paper Mario and the Mario & Luigi series, also fits into this video. I chose the original Super Mario RPG since it was one of the first JRPGs, if not the first, I'm not really sure, to make use of timed buttons in battles. Also, with the remake, it's also playable in a modern platform with new quality of life enhancements, including autosave, which, at least for me, is always welcome. In this game, you not only press the correct button in time to maximize your attack damage, but you also have to time your defenses as well. If you press the button a little too soon or a little too late, you take a little less damage, but if you time it perfectly, you take 0 damage. That adds a lot of interaction in battle since you won't simply watch as your enemies attack you, but actually pay attention and try to defend whenever possible. Not only that, but also every character has its own sets of skills with their own ways of interaction, be it holding the button to release and on the right time for maximum damage, or even rotating the analog stick if you're playing the remake. The game is rather forgiving, but it's a lot of fun nonetheless. It never takes itself too seriously. It's also kind of a short game. I mean, you can beat it in like 10 or 11 hours best, if you focus on the main quest. Sea of Stars, released for every modern platform in 2023. A great follow-up to Super Mario RPG would obviously be Sea of Stars. Amazing indie game and one of my favorites in this list. Ever since this game was announced, I was absolutely hyped. Not only because I'm a fan of turn-based games, but also because the previous game made by Sabotage Studios, The Messenger, is one of my favorite games of all times. A lot of hype was created around this game, saying that it was completely inspired by Chrono Trigger, and that it could be the true spiritual successor to it. While it is true that it's inspired by Chrono Trigger, even counting with some scores made by Yasunori Mitsuda, Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross original composer, the fact here is that Sea of Stars draw a lot from, and I mean really a lot from Super Mario RPG. Everything in the battle system and even the level up bonus system is directly inspired by Super Mario RPG. It works essentially the same way. Press the right buttons on the right time to deal more damage or to defend, and each skill will have its own way of interaction to power up when used. There is no mistake here, just like Super Mario RPG, super fun battle system, but this time with a more serious and robust plot. Good exploration, a fun tabletop minigame, great OST and beautiful pixel art. If you want a good 2D modern turn-based RPG, this is the one for you. Mother 3, released for Game Boy Advance in 2006 only in Japan, but with a very good English translation patch available. This is surely one of the most curious titles in this list. Never released officially in the West, this is the third game in the Mother series, known as Earthbound around here. The Mother series as a whole is known for presenting a crazy setting with a vibrant, cheerful colors contrasting to dark and sometimes sad elements in its overall plot. The whole trilogy is a masterpiece in terms of old-school JRPG, and at least one of them should be played by every fan of the genre. The twist in Mother 3 is that the battle system introduces a new combo system that wasn't present in the previous entries. And the main difference from this combo system to the other games in this list is that it acts kind of as a rhythm game. Whenever you use your normal attacks, if you keep pressing the confirm button to the rhythm of the battle song, you will keep adding more hits to your attack and increase your overall damage. What's really bizarre here is that the game never really teaches clearly how to use the system, and just barely mentions that it is possible throughout the game. That's not really a problem, considering that you don't really have to use this to actually beat the game. Anyway, Mother 3, Earthbound, great games, play them as soon as possible. Shadow Hearts, released for PlayStation 2 in 2001. Shadow Hearts is a trilogy that would act as a sequel to the rather obscure PlayStation 1 horror JRPG Koudelka. However, Shadow Hearts attained much more popularity and success than its predecessor, and that's well deserved. Ditching a little bit of the survival horror gameplay from Koudelka while still maintaining the dark atmosphere, the Shadow Hearts series presented us with a very interactive battle system that added a lot of risk and reward to its combo system. Just like the other games on this list, you have to press the buttons in the right time when attacking. But the difference in this one is that it uses a system called Judgment Ring, in which a pointer will spin pretty much like a clock pointer, and you have to press the attack button on the right areas of this ring for your attack to hit. There's also a small red part in the end of each attack area that, if you press the button when the pointer is on it, you will land a critical hit. But it's not as easy as it sounds. Trying to land a critical hit but being too late to press the button will result in a miss, meaning that you can play safe or attempt critical hits to deal more damage, but also risking your chance to actually land a hit on your enemy. It's pretty neat if you ask me. Unfortunately, this series has been stuck in the PlayStation 2 even to this day, but there's a spiritual sequel in the making called Penny Blood. We can only hope it's as good as the original Shadow Hearts. South Park: The Stick of Truth, released originally for PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 and PC in 2014. A South Park turn-based RPG sounded like an absurd idea in the past, but then again, South Park is known for being absurd, and so the game was developed and released by no one other than Obsidian, known for working on other successful games like Fallout New Vegas, for example. The result was superb. Not only it brought the humor and art style of the TV show masterfully, it also had very solid RPG foundations with a funny story, the entire city of South Park to explore, and, of course, a great battle system with different quick time events for each attack and skill for every playable character. The game received a sequel later, The Fractured But Whole, which I haven't played yet, but it's worth mentioning here since, well, if you enjoy The Stick of Truth a lot and wish for more, there is more. Undertale, released originally for PC in 2015, but since then ported to mostly any modern platform. One of the most beloved indie games ever, highly inspired by the already mentioned in this video Mother series, which Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale, is a huge fan. Personally, in terms of battle system, this is one of the most creative in my opinion. It doesn't just boils everything down to quick time events or anything timing based. When you're being attacked, the game goes basically into a shmup mode, or danmaku, for those who are more intimate to the genre, where you have to dodge everything in the screen to reduce or avoid receiving damage. It may seem easy and forgiving on normal enemies, or during the first hours into the game, but some bosses later can give you a really decent challenge and some intense dodging that will surely keep you on your toes. A lot of this game revolves around its narrative and the spare system, so the best way to have the full experience is by actually playing it. Isn't it great to see how turn-based battle systems can innovate and reinvent themselves, even though a lot of people exaggerate and say that they are outdated and shouldn't exist anymore? I've managed to play and list basically one game from each generation ever since the SNES. What other games with battle system like this do you know and recommend? Tell us in the comments. Also, if you're enjoying my content and would like to see more of it, consider helping me through my Ko-fi page. Every single penny already helps me a lot. But if you can't or simply don't want to, you can help me a lot just by liking, commenting and sharing the video for engagement. Thanks again for watching and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. See you next time!